everyone. Welcome back to LPY The Inside, where this is episode 17, and we are interviewing someone. If you want to introduce yourself and tell us some things about you.
Hi, I am Lexie Holcomb, and I teach 10th and 11th grade English at Albertville High School. I am an Albertville native myself, so I grew up here. I'm married. I have a foster son and a new puppy, and that's kind of it. It's not much more interesting than that.
Okay, so the reason that, because, we just don't interview just anyone, obviously, so, so the reason that I was like, oh, we need to have her on here was because I think it was like back in November, maybe, you were Teacher of the Month?
I was for October.
Okay, so that obviously is a good thing because not a lot of people, tend to like English teachers. But we have our first table here today. We have Avon, Sadler, V, and let's see. And Avon, you said you had a question to start off with?
Mm-hmm. Have you ever taught, so you teach 10th and 11th grade?
Yes.
Have you ever taught any other school grades that's not in high school, and how was that different?
I actually have not. So when I was doing my practicum teaching, which is kind of like your student teaching, where you're just getting experience in the field, I was with 6th grade, which is the lowest that I'm actually certified to teach. And they were a lot of fun, but I haven't actually had any full-time experience. I mean, I can still kind of compare, just from my brief time with them versus what it's like at the high school. They are a lot less independent, so it's definitely more hands-on. You have to be a little bit more guided with instruction. Maybe I might even argue that you have to have a little bit more of a sense of humor because, when you get to some of the lower grades, that their sense of humor is a bit more immature. It's still developing, so you have to be a good spirit about that too. But it was fun for the time being, but I definitely love my sophomores and juniors.
Yeah. Me?
What's your favorite thing about teaching, and why did you choose this career to pursue?
So this was sort of my first option, but it wasn't actually the path that I followed for the longest. When I was in high school, I always thought I wanted to be in the medical field. It was like everybody kind of preaches that at you. That's where the money's at. And I think naturally I was always interested in something with service because that's just what I gravitate towards. But I quickly realized that the medical field was not for me. And when I was changing majors, I ended up going the business route because, again, they are throwing, hey, that's where the money's at. So I actually got my bachelor's degree in accounting, worked in public accounting, did that whole thing for a little bit. And then I genuinely felt like God was calling me to go back and pursue teaching. So I did. I went and got my master's degree and started teaching. And I think I answered the second part of your question, how I got into it. But the first part was what I enjoy most. Mm-hmm. And definitely my interactions with students. So now I've been at Albertville for 4 years. So I have started to build rapport with more and more students, and I've had siblings now, and even friend groups where they go on and they can, tell their friends that they had me or whatever. So it's definitely fun, building those relationships and seeing younger siblings and friends come through, and definitely the relationship aspect is my favorite part for sure. Although it took a little while to build. You kind of have to make sure you're in it for the long run because it's not instant that kids love you. So, yeah. Not that they all do now.
So you attend Lifepoint here, right? How long haven't you and Morton just been coming here like for a little bit?
So my parents, my mom and
your
my
parents go
stepdad
here, yeah.
attend here, and so we will visit with them on occasion. Yes, so I like to visit with my mom sometimes.
So what was there like a certain, because I know you mentioned how you just felt like God called you to go back to teaching. Was there like a certain moment that you remember where you were like whenever you realized that he did call you back and was like, oh, you need to go back to school? And
Yes, there is a very specific moment. I had already finished my bachelor's degree, so I was completely done with college. And it's almost like the summer after you graduate high school, where it's like you're so happy because you're done with school. And it's almost even better than high school because it's like, okay, you're the real deal now. But I remember I was working at a firm, and I was sitting in my office doing work, and no hate to the accounting world because we need accountants. We absolutely do. But I just remember thinking, like, if I died tomorrow, what have I done? Like, I've helped people with their taxes. And at that point, like, I was still early. I mean, I had just started my career. I didn't have a career at that point. So I really don't want to give a bad rap to accountants because I know that, like, they put in so much hard work to try to help people get those tax breaks and save money where they can and do their financial planning. But that was just not my area where I was the strongest to serve and where I felt like I was being also like renewed and in a way that I was supposed to. So I can't tell you the date, but I remember I was just surrounded by like brown walls in my office. It was just totally silent, and I just remember thinking, if I died tomorrow, what have I contributed to the world? And I could honestly say nothing. So
that, I feel like that's what a lot of people our age are like scared about, is that they like want to go one route and then they're afraid that they'll find out that they feel the need to go into another route. And that's like a whole nother, I don't know, like, because it's like you have to decide if you want to go back to school and like go and get a whole nother, like be in a whole nother major.
Right. There's so much pressure on, and like obviously looking back now, as an adult, and I look at my students now and I'm like they're so young. It is so much pressure and so hard to figure out, oh, I'm going to invest all this time and money into college, but what if I make the wrong choice? And it is totally scary. You know, the good thing, I always say the good thing about having my accounting degree is I always have something to fall back on if teaching doesn't work out. So, you know, there's ways to kind of make yourself feel better about it, but it's a really big decision. And so high pressure all the way around. So,
and I know, like, what, y'all are all in
High school and middle school.
are y'all in 7th grade?
I'm in 8th. She's in 7th.
What grade are you?
9.
9? And you're 9th? Okay, well, I'm a junior. And so next year it's like, oh, like you have to start figuring your life out. And it's like, you can't just be like, because, okay, I do theater, and I can't just be like, oh my gosh, I want to do musical theater for the rest of my life, because, like, that's not going to pay the bills, guys.
Sure. You have to be practical.
Right. And so it's like I was thinking about it the other day, because, like, if I could just be up on that stage every single day of my life, like I would, if that would, like, fulfill my everyday life, like, I would do it for the rest of my life till the day I die, but it doesn't. And like only recently I started like getting into like Aggie Vision and all that stuff, because being at like sporting events is like my thing. Like I can be around people all day long. Well, maybe not all day long, but I can be around people. I can like I just love the atmosphere, especially that like our school has. And so and I mean, like, I've always wanted to go to a big school. And I guess it's just because, like, I've always grown up going to a big school anyway. And so I just thought that was sort of the route that I wanted to take. And I mean, like, I want to finish my basics and I want to go to Auburn and I want to do, like, sports journalism. And I want to do, like, the whole, like, production part of it. Like, I want to do all that stuff. But then it's also, like, I'm going to have a family. Like, I'm going to have kids. I'm going to have to be there for my kids. Like, it's going to be like, I don't know. It's just like so scary just thinking about it. It's like, because truthfully, like, I've always wanted to be a teacher and I've always wanted to just be, because teachers have, like, influenced me and helped me in so many ways. And it's not even like it's just like they've been more than just teachers to me. And so I've always just wanted to be that person to someone else. But I, like you said, like, teaching is sort of like the thing I can kind of, like, fall back on if it's like I can't hold a camera and record people for the rest of my life, you know. But
or you might even teach the next generation how to photograph,
right,
and how to interview.
like it. But it's just, like, so scary because, especially now, like I don't know about y'all, if like I know you're at AIA and you're, like, doing the whole, like, ag stuff, and, like, you're genuinely interested in that stuff. FFA, like, you're, like, genuinely interested in that stuff. But, like, for me, I was never, like, really, really interested into something other than, like, theater and soccer. But I knew I didn't want to, like, go to college for soccer. And so it was like, dang, I don't know what to do. And so you, like, saying that just made me think of how, like you genuinely just cannot, you won't really ever have your life figured out.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like, with every decision that we make in life, there is some permanency to some things.
Yeah.
But I mean, you just have to try your best, and if something's not working, then figure out what kind of alternate solution there may be.
Yeah. Do you have a question? Tyler, do you have a question?
Yeah, one thing I would ask is, I'm kind of in the middle here, so I'm just gonna put him right here. We're gonna hope for the best.
You're projecting.
Yeah, we're gonna hope for the best here. So one thing I would ask you is, I'm gonna ask a question. I'm gonna build on that question. So now, for teaching specifically, not necessarily counting getting that, for teaching specifically, where did you get your schooling for that?
So I did a 5th-year program at Samford University. So there's actually a lot of people who get bachelor's degrees and then realize they want to go back and be a teacher. So that program was specifically for people like me who needed to get all of the same requirements that you could get in a bachelor's degree, but you do it in a 5th-year master's program. So
the question I would ask based on that is, and you can even include the accounting, because I would assume you're probably in school longer for that. I could be wrong.
Well, for my bachelor's degree, I was in school for 4 years total, and then my master's, they say it's a 5th year. It's more like a year and a half.
So so the main thing I was going to ask you would be, looking back at your college career, kind of your academic career, and your focuses in life to that point, what is the advice that you would give to high school students such as myself, and even Adri, who's closer on it, knocking on the door of graduation every day, when selecting a college and a major, and just maybe the best ways to optimize your time and proficiency in that?
So I guess the biggest thing that I would recommend, and it's like the hardest thing to do, it's easier said than done, is to focus on your relationship with God and follow where God is leading you. I was listening to so many outside voices, like whether it be from who I was dating or even my parents, even if they mean well, even teachers. I had some teachers that were like, you do not want to be a teacher, And so I was such a pleaser. I wanted to make everyone around me happy. I was the straight A student that followed all the rules. And so when I had all of these adults who have good intentions for me, when I was listening to that voice rather than like focusing on my relationship with God, who He wanted me to be, I do think that that's probably what was my delay I believe everything happens for a reason, but I think for you guys that are young and you're trying to make these I don't want to say life altering, but like these big decisions that will affect your life one way or another, is to not listen to the outside voices,
Yeah.
but focus on who you are at your core, what makes you happy, what fulfills your soul, where your strengths are.
Yeah.
And because if you're really honed in on that and who God wants you to be, then, you know, you won't have all of that outside noise.
Yeah.
I was not spiritually mature or just emotionally mature enough at that time. So I was definitely focused more on the outside voices.
Yeah. I know, like, a lot of the times we talk about how we always want to, like, please other people, and then, like, we never know what God wants for us, but it's literally because we are pleasing other people.
Right.
And it's because we don't truly want to know what God wants for us. And I know that that's, like, always really, because, I mean, that's, like, something that, like, I've struggled with, and I'm sure, like, most of us can say that we've also struggled with, is just, like, we say that, like, we want, like, oh, I want to follow God's plan for me, and, like, I trust God and all this stuff, but, like, truly, like, deep down, it's just, like, your flesh speaking, like, you don't really want to know what God wants for you.
Yeah, because what if it's just something that to society might appear average
Right.
or weak?
Yeah.
We live in a society that just craves fame
Yeah.
and money. And actually, one of the last services that I went to at Lifepoint, I can't remember the exact tagline that was used, but it had to do with like us wanting this like great story that we could share, and it give us all this fame and attention.
Yeah.
But we were so focused on the outside that it was like we were missing what
The
God
point-
actually
the main
had
point of it,
planned
yeah.
for us. Yeah, because again, back to this society that we live in, you know, it's frowned upon to be a teacher or
Yeah.
a farmer or a plumber or an electrician because they're viewed as average.
Yeah.
But if we would be okay with kind of following those things, if that's what God has in plan for us, then you might actually be exposed to some really awesome, godly,
Yeah.
magical things.
Yeah, I know that a lot of the times it's very hard for us to even like tell the difference in, which we've asked Clay this question so many times, is like, how do you truly know when God is speaking to you? That is like the one question that I'm just
Because it's not
I
always
just-
that still small voice you hear in the Bible.
Right,
right.
These
It's not
different ways,
just
always
like
audible.
someone's like whispering right beside your ear. It's like, and I mean, like, I guess I can say that God has spoken to me, but like in some ways I still question it. I'm like, but like, has he spoken to me? And that's just still like, I don't know. It's just very odd because then like you don't know if it's just your head telling you to make those decisions or if it's God telling you to make those decisions, and then you just like go back and forth. But even you have something to say?
Yeah, I saw a quote today, and it said, if you already have in your mind like what you want God to say, whenever you're listening for what He's gonna say, you're gonna automatically assume that that's what He's saying.
Absolutely.
But
Yeah.
I did have a question too, and it was, if say you died today, you became a ghost, and you're looking over your life, what would be the like lesson or moral from your story?
I like that question, but it's challenging me a bit because I mean, I guess I naturally want to follow up with like, you know, follow God to like find your
Yeah.
calling or whatever. I'm trying to think like currently. So like I said earlier, I just became a foster mom as of May, and I'm also, I guess I'm still considered a newlywed. My husband and I have only been married for 2 or 3 years now, and I know that sounds crazy, but we've been together forever, so we kind of lose track of how long we've been married. But I feel like now that I'm entering in this period of motherhood now, I'm kind of going back to some of those like childhood lessons of like your relationships with the people that you love most, and like even like you were talking about earlier, trying to find the balance between like your career, what you want to have versus like serving your family at home. Um but I guess if I were to die today and I was to become a ghost, and the moral would, I guess, just be to always like speak to people as if it was the last time. You never know when it's the last time.
Yeah.
Um, you never know what final encounter you may have with someone, and so I guess just always treat people as if it's the last time. So even if you're in a disagreement, even if you're having a terrible morning, terrible evening, whatever, just remember that you could die today, and that might very well be the last time that you see that person, whether it's your family or a student or somebody that you just might butt heads with and disagree with. That was a really challenging question, so I don't know that in the moment that was what my answer would be.
I feel like also realizing that like life is so short kind of just comes with like you just getting older.
Yeah.
Or
absolutely.
even with like losing someone. Like, you knew Ruby, and I talk about her a lot on here, but my cousin, like I mean like I had lost my uncle, but I was very young. I was very, very close to him.
Right.
But I was young. I was like maybe in like the 4th grade. And so I was just like, it was the first death I had gone through. It was very weird. But then whenever I lost Ruby, I was in middle school. And Ruby was like my sister. Like she was literally like, she lived with us at some point. So it was sometimes just like losing a loved one is very eye-opening and is very like, oh, like this, especially if it's an unexpected death. It's very like, oh, like I could literally like be driving home and die.
Yeah, that
And
loss of innocence, that there are terrible things.
Yeah. And sometimes I mean like I tend to have I try to say that I have peace with the fact that she just like died unexpectedly, but I obviously like have my moments sometimes, but then there's also that fear when like my mom leaves the house and it's like, oh my gosh, what if Myra never comes back? Right. It's like it's just like it's I don't know, it just I guess just comes with time, unless you're just like, obviously guys, like life is short and you never know. But that's definitely like a good thing to talk about, like to just talk to everyone like it's your last day or like it's their last day or it's like the last encounter.
And I absolutely fail to do that all the time, but it's definitely good to be reminded of.
Yeah. Like I don't even think I ever said I love you to people whenever they left, but like now it just comes natural to me. And it's just like you definitely appreciate what's around you more, and it's very, very eye-opening whenever you just lose someone unexpectedly. You have a question?
Well, I was gonna add on to that. My granddad, he had dementia pretty quick. It was like one of those. It got on quick, but like they don't make it long enough to forget everybody.
Right.
I still remember, about the talking to everybody like it's their last time. You were talking about an unexpected death. Like it was like partially expected. Yeah. But there's still those days where like you walk in there and like you see his chair moving.
And like he's still there.
Yeah, and you're just like, like I walk over there like I half expect to see him now.
Right.
Yeah.
But I remember it's like he was always one thing I remember is talking about people like it's the last time. He's just in the faith of always being able to see somebody, and it's like he never said bye to anybody. He always said love you. He's gonna be on the phone with somebody, he'd say love you and hang up. He never said bye to anybody because of the loss that our family has faced before. But I do remember that. It's like I don't think I ever told him that I loved him once. It was the last words I ever spoke to him. Had a dog, and the last time I saw him, he was in the hospital bed in the house because at home care was coming through. So everybody kind of knew it was kind of last days. walk in there and it's like, I'll bring the dog back anyways. I'll see ya, and I love you. And he looked, and then that was it.
Oh, I'll see you.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then that was it. It was unreal, really. So
Yeah.
just navigating stuff like that, I think it does. I have those moments where like I'll leave a friend's house, or like I'll drop somebody back off at their house with their parents or something. I'm just like, that could have quite possibly been the last time I'll speak to that person.
I think about that all the time too.
Like it really never leaves.
Yeah, especially with like, cause whenever JJ died, that was also very, very unexpected. And I mean, like I had, which this is very, very weird, crazy story. I knew him because he knew my coaches, knew my friends, or knew coaches that I knew my friends, and like he was just around all the time. Like y'all know JJ, he was literally the loudest one there, was around literally all the time.
Everybody loved that.
And everyone loved him. He was amazing, and I feel like he's the prime example of just treating everyone with love and treating everyone like it's their last day. And which it was very weird because I mean, I had like, had him on social media and stuff. We had talked a couple of times, but we weren't like very, very close friends. But it was the Friday whenever we played Boaz. I had like talked to him for the first time in like forever. And we had said, I was talking, he was best friends with Christian, and Christian's one of my really good friends. And so I was like, they were like walking, they were on the way to the pep rally, and I was like, JJ, like, get Christian, whatever. And I was like, if y'all lose, because we used to like make bets all the time. If like y'all lose, then like y'all owe me Chick-fil-A or something like that. And then Christian was like, no. And then JJ just like turns around and just laughs at me, and I was like, okay, then JJ will get me Chick-fil-A. And then they just keep on walking, and that was the last time I saw him. Like I physically remember just seeing him, and he walked away just laughing. And that was just him all the time. And his death was so unexpected, and even though I wasn't very close to him, it was a very scary thing for me, and it was definitely very eye-opening because he was my age. And because it was like he was always at every birthday party I was at. He was always like around my friends. It was just like very weird, which like I know for people that were like very, very close to him and like teachers that had him, it was, I'm sure, like a lot harder. But from my perspective, and I know it was like Pearl and I talked about this a lot, it was very hard for us because it was very like, oh, like that could have been us. And it was just like a very weird, I don't know. But so I have a question.
Okay.
So you've gotten married, you have Aiden, and been through college, through high school, through all of that. Which you don't have to share this part, but like one of the hardest things that you can just think of, or I guess like a time of your life that you were just not very well spiritually, what is like something or someone that just like got you through that time?
I would honestly say my husband.
King.
Yes.
Love you.
I would say that as soon as I met him, I kind of, like with the career thing, I think that you really do almost have like a spiritual calling to who your spouse is meant to be. And so I feel like he always kind of kept me grounded in moments where spiritually I might have been struggling. What I love about him as far as that goes is never one to pressure or judge. Because that can be a hard thing to admit, and maybe somebody who's never gone through that might not be as understanding, might not have the right words. But I would say Morton for sure would have been one to help me get through that. And even on top of that, both of our parents, my mom especially, I would say, was another someone.
Also an icon.
Yes, and then even Morton's parents, they're very grounded in their faith.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I really admire about them. I always say, like, anything that I need praying about, I know I can tell his mom. And, some people that say, like, okay, well, I'm praying for you.
Yeah.
And do they ever actually, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I know that his mom does.
That she will, yeah.
Yeah, she's awesome about that. She's definitely a prayer warrior.
Yeah. Sadler, do you have? Oh, well, I just thought you did.
No, I was just getting that.
Okay, do y'all have any other questions before I pause this and go to the second table? Okay, so maybe I should.
We're about to be whopped off.
Maybe I should.
You're just like the second table.
Okay, so we're going to take a break and then come back with the second table. Do y'all have anything to say before I pause this?
Okay, we asked the question.
Oh yeah.
So we asked everybody this question.
Okay.
How do you balance your relationship with God while being a teacher?
So, being a teacher is one of the most stimulating jobs in the world. And so, I think one of the most important things, and even obviously, I know there are plenty of other like high stress, stimulating jobs, but I think whatever career you choose, in addition to the busyness of our society right now, I think the biggest thing is finding peace and quiet. And I know that might sound silly, but I almost think, and maybe it's just like my own personal challenges, like I shared earlier, how I constantly want to listen to the outside noise. I have to make sure that I'm very genuine with my time, very sincere with it, and say no to some things sometimes, and make sure that I'm really prioritizing the few things so that I can really give my all to those and make sure that I'm doing it for the right reasons and stuff like that. So I would say limit the outside noise.
Okay, bottom line. Okay, so we're going to take a break and then we're going to come back with the second table.
Yay.
Okay, hey guys, we're back with the second table. I thought I heard myself like in the
Y'all
headphones.
miss me.
Okay, so we still have V with us.
They love me.
And then we have Alex, my beautiful baby sister. And then we have May. And then we still have Lexie with us too.
We know y'all missed this table. We're always so iconic and
Okay.
anyways.
So, and then we still have Lexie. So B, you said you had a question to ask her.
Yes. So I know teaching can be hard, and I always feel like teachers don't go through anything, and they're like always happy or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, they're teachers. So like, what motivates you to like get up and get to work and be around students for like 8 hours?
I totally understand what you mean though, because like it's kind of part of the gig. Like you have to be on, and I would say that's part of like just doing any career where you're serving others. You just kind of have to be on like that. Every day, this is going to sound really nerdy, but the truth of the matter, I just really love school. I love school, always growing up. Anytime for me that I felt like I was going through something at home, it was kind of a safe space for me with those teachers that also like came and brought their best selves. So, like AJ was talking about earlier, I love waking up knowing that I can hopefully be that for somebody else. So I would say, that's a big thing. And then sometimes if I am having a bad morning, my students are usually the ones that end up cheering me up and kind of putting me in that mood, because my students are awesome like that. So I can always count on them, honestly.
Yeah, you also have sophomores and juniors.
Right,
and
right.
so it's like, it's kind of like that in between of like, some are just funny like that. No, thankfully she's not my teacher. She knew Ruby. That's how I know her.
Me
Yeah.
and Ruby graduated together.
Yeah. But no, she's not my teacher. We always joke about how like if I had her as a teacher, like I wouldn't like her.
Oh.
Because
She'd
like
get her feelings hurt
yeah.
because I'm tough and I'm strict.
Yeah. And I don't do that.
You do Kiwi stuff.
Yeah.
I have
do
another question
do
before I
like
forget it.
no.
Let me go.
Okay, you go.
I'm not sure if I'm gonna word it right, but who or what helped you grow your faith?
Oh wait, yeah, that's good. That's a good
Who
question.
or what helped me grow my faith? I feel like I kind of touched on this earlier, but I would say my mom.
She's such an icon. Y'all don't understand.
She really
She's so iconic.
like I grew up in church, but kind of like what I said earlier about my husband and how he like never judged me or pressured me in either way. I would say that my mom was also very similar. She challenged me in ways. I don't think it was ever like a free pass, like oh, well, you can skip out. You don't have to go to church. You don't have to do this. But it was like, you're going to go to church because that's what the family's doing. I'm not going to make you worship. I'm not going to make you have a relationship with God.
Yeah.
Of course, because she was just a good parent like that, it
Yeah.
all naturally ensued. But I would say my mom,
Yeah.
thinking just like growing up,
Yeah.
I would really attribute that to her.
V.
Okay, I'm trying to figure out how to word this. Okay, so like even though you're having like a bad day or something, how do you like, gosh, I forgot the word.
I'm just getting my iconic question.
How do you like, I forgot.
Like, I don't want to finish your. Do you want to help? Yeah.
When you're having a bad day, how do you like make sure others have a good day?
Oh, okay. So I think first and foremost, if you're having a bad day, the best thing that you can do is communicate that to others. And not in a whiny way, but you know, sometimes if you are off, you can just say, hey, I'm sorry, I'm having an off day. I'm having a bad day. That wasn't meant to be in that tone or whatever. And I think sometimes, like, even if you are having the worst day of your life and you can't be on, you can't be your fun, chipper self, I think the best thing that you can do is just be consistent with yourself. And if you are having a bad day, tell other people. You know, I don't know if that's the best thing, but that's kind of what I do.
Yeah.
Okay, I remember what I was gonna say. As a teacher, how do you like, as a teacher and like just a human being in general, how do you like try to have a good influence on people that are younger than you?
So I'm going back to this a lot, but I guess maybe this is what helped me. I think just being non-judgmental is the key when it comes to teenagers. Having expectations, having high expectations and upholding those, and you know, challenging your students when they want to be lazy and they want to kind of take the easy route. I think you have to do all those things, but you have to do it in a non-judgmental manner.
Yeah.
I think that if you can do that and kind of meet everybody where they are, and that's kind of the key, is to be non-judgmental about it. Because I think that some people might have those high expectations, but they're very judgmental and selective in who they want to mentor. And then on the flip side, you have people who are just super non-judgmental and they're flowy and they have no boundaries, but that's not really helping anybody either.
Yeah.
So I think that you have to have that balance in the middle.
Yeah. So, you know, well, I don't know, but I know whenever I guess like my freshman year maybe, and this year whenever I don't have a good day, I always end up on your freaking couch all the time. Oh, she has, okay, listen.
The therapy couch.
She has this, it's such like a pretty like brown couch, and it's just sitting right in front of her desk. and I just always end up on that couch. But I know that like sometimes it's so, because like for me especially, it's very hard for me to give other people advice when I'm not having a good day. And but also like
Bless you.
Bless you.
Thank you.
bless you.
Thank you.
I don't know. I can't figure out how to word it. But I definitely think that you do a really good job at not making other people feel judged.
Oh, well, good. I'm glad
Because,
to know that
like-
you feel that way.
Because like especially if you have people like coming up to you and telling you things, and like when they're not having a good day, then like I mean, like if I were you, like I would feel like I was doing something right, which I mean, I don't know. A lot of people come to me and they're like, I want to get closer to God, and I'm like, why are you coming to me about this? I'm like, what am I like, what do you mean? But I think you're definitely like good at not judging people, and just like naturally making people feel comforted.
Well, that's really good to hear. I think that sometimes when I hold people to that standard,
Yeah.
they misinterpret it as me judging, but it's really
Yeah.
not. It's really about me believing the best in people
Yeah.
and wanting to see that from
Yeah.
them. So
And like you said, like you grew up going to church, like you just went, not because necessarily like your mom forced you to, but it was just that's sort of like how our mom was. She was always like, I'm not going to, like, she made us go because like our family went, it was like oh, you're gonna go because like our family's going to church on Sunday. But then she always implied like, I'm not gonna make you choose
Right.
what you're going to do whenever you get older.
right.
But my parents are both very rooted into their faith, and so I feel like their faith has definitely like impacted us.
Yeah.
And that I was thinking about this like during our break, how we talked about how like careers and stuff, and like later on like you're gonna have a family and
Yeah.
everything. And I think like one of my biggest fears is like being so scared that like I'm not rooted into my faith enough to where like my kids want to be faithful. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's a absolute legitimate fear. And the scary thing that I'm learning now is
Yeah.
even outside of your faith, every single thing that you do trickles down
Yeah.
and affects and impacts.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is a very legitimate fear of yours.
What is like something that you would I guess tell like a teenager, or I guess like just anyone younger, something that's just stood out to you like in your walk with God?
Well, if you couldn't tell, I'm very top A. I'm a major control freak. I like things to be in order. Y'all probably got that when I said how much I loved school. But this is something I have to learn and be reminded of every day. But God's in control, and when you let Him be in control, the outcome is always greater.
Yeah.
And like I said, I fail at that daily. But when I can let go and let God,
Yeah.
as everyone says, it's so much better.
Yeah. I think that's something that like a lot of people our age just struggle with, especially when you're like the type A type of person.
Well, and teenagers specifically are dying for control. You're in
Yeah.
that phase where you want something to fall back on, but also
Yeah.
you want to be in control of something.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. May?
I'm like fighting demons with this one. Okay. If you like could only have you could only have like one conversation. If you could only no, 'cause, like,
You got this,
for a
girl.
quick second, I was like,
Let's go, Minnie. Let's go.
Okay, if you can only have like one conversation with like a girl or like a boy, because like we're very different type of people, but if you could have like one conversation, like what would you say? Like you saw this, you met this person for the first time, and like you would never see them again
Oh.
after that day. Like something's like if somebody just randomly came to you, oh, I'm good, like
Or I guess like what is something like you want them to remember?
yeah, like oh, tell me like something spiritually. Like if you could tell somebody something spiritually and you'd never see them again, like this is the only time, like you've never met them before either.
That is a challenging question.
Thank you.
I mean, yeah, like that, honestly, kudos, because that's like, this one's keeping me on my toes. Snaps for the question. Okay, if I could only say one thing, that's a lot of pressure.
Gosh, man.
We
I
believe in
mean,
you.
what's coming to my head is like, God loves you. I don't know.
But I feel like that's just such a simple. Not okay. Wait, hold on. Whoa, let me like.
Oh.
No, hold on. But I was gonna say I feel like that people think that's such a simple question, but it's not.
Yeah.
Like that is like,
Not at all.
Not at.
I don't know. I feel like I know what I would say.
What would you say?
What? Yeah, what would you say?
Since you asked.
It's your time to shine. Okay.
Let me cook. Okay.
It's May's podcast now.
She's got the wisdom.
I know. I feel like the first thing I'd say, like, it feels like a girl is. No, let me start with the boy first. Okay, the first thing I'd say to a boy is like, don't ever like let somebody judge you because of your emotions.
Oh,
Because-
yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
I feel like boys, they like if they show any type of emotion,
They're
gonna,
considered
like,
weak.
They're gonna get judged.
Yeah, we need more emotionally mature
Right.
men in the world.
Right. And then, okay, so I'd say, like, don't ever let somebody, like, judge you for your feelings and, like, trust God because he's, like, your foundation or whatever. Excuse me. And what I'd say for a girl is, like you're beautiful exactly how you are. And don't, like, let anybody change that. And, like, God sees that. And
She is just so wise.
I know she's so clean.
like, that's something. Oh, this gets me fired up, really, because like girls will sit here and be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so ugly," and I'm just like, "No,
I'm so chopped.
you're so beautiful, and I wish you could see that."
Aw.
And like, oh,
That energy just
so
my god.
gives
comes
me-
out of you. I
can
love
think
it.
Thank you. I can think of one friend. She's like, "I'm so ugly." I'm like, "No." You can see yourself through my eyes. You're so
Aw.
beautiful,
And like that's how God sees us,
Yeah.
right?
and they're like, I was talking to this one friend, and they're like, "I'm so broken. Not even God can love me."
Oh.
And oh my gosh, I wanted to cry so bad because you have to like really be going through it to feel that type of way. And I was like, "No, God loves you, and so do I." And she was like, "You love me?" And I was like, "Yes," because like, my heart just broke. Because like when she
I'm gonna
said
start
that,
crying.
that made me like really upset. But yeah, I just
Wow.
felt so bad for her.
I mean, really. If you already have that now, I can only imagine what God has in store for you. Like, I mean,
The bully.
that is so
We're not
serious.
bullying
That's,
you.
no, yeah. Like,
Congratulations. Who was it that said? Is it you that says it like that? Okay, you were
It
not.
probably was her.
She can't say congratulating, right?
Congratulating.
hey, she got it. Snaps for that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. But what I was trying to say earlier was whenever people like think of, oh, like, I don't know, I just want to say something more than like God loves you. But I feel like those three
So
words right
hard.
there are like enough. Like those three words are something that could just completely change someone's life. Because I know that that's like, I mean, like that's happened to me before.
Mhm.
I don't know. That just like, because I feel like a lot of people just feel that way about that.
I just hope whenever I run into him, I'm with you. Because you have the right words.
Oh, but what I want to say is my friend, she said, wait, what am I trying to see? I said, "You're so special and beautiful." And she was like, oh, sorry.
I hope this person doesn't watch this podcast.
Oh, no, she doesn't go here.
Okay.
Anyways, she was like, "No, I'm not." And then she was like, I'm so unlovable. And I said, don't get me started. And he was like, she was like, God probably regrets making me. And oh my gosh, that broke my heart because she's so beautiful and such a special person. I was like,
Yeah.
like, I just hate when people feel that way.
Yeah.
You know, because like I know what it feels like
To feel that way. Yeah.
so.
Yeah. I definitely think that that's like a hard thing. I feel like Clay has like touched on that a lot because we had a series on self-worth. And because he felt like that's what people struggled with a lot. Like,
Absolutely.
You know, and I mean, is it
Yes, raining.
rain?
I think that was a car.
Oh yeah, I saw a truck pulling.
Oh, it's probably Clay. Oh, okay, hurry. Go.
Okay.
Clay's probably
So-
like, you have to be out by 8, 9.
Okay, so what's your favorite Bible quote or any quote in like general, like to like get you through the day? Like you just keep it in your head all throughout the day.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, sorry.
wait, am I still answering?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know if I had to stop.
Okay. Last question.
Sorry, Clay.
Sorry, the conversation got deep and good.
It got juicy once I hit that.
What is the Bible verse? Isn't it a verse? Let go and let God, or am I making that up?
Clay.
I mean, like you don't.
Clay.
It doesn't have to be a Bible.
Be
verse,
still
though.
and know that I'm God. I think
Yeah,
that goes.
yeah.
That goes with my need to control like brain of
Yeah.
mine. Like I just have to remember, and I think we talked earlier. Like how can I find that peace and that balance?
Yeah.
And it's really like being very strict and firm about
Yeah.
having that stillness and not letting that outside
Yeah.
voice come in. So I guess that's my all time, but I try to change and have like quotes and verses of the month. So
Yeah. That's what I try to do that too with like New Year's. Like have like a quote of the year.
yeah,
So that I can like
be
last
grounded
year-
in that.
Yeah, like last year, which now I feel like a lot of people are getting the mindset of this is to just let them. The letting them like mindset is so hard. It is so hard. But that also just comes with knowing that God is in control and you just have to let people do it. They do. And you have to realize that God has a plan for you and that his timing is perfect. And I feel like a lot of the times we say that we have that mindset and we want to have that mindset, but like I know I've said on here before is like if you truly wanted to have something, like you would truly try to have it. And I feel like I don't know, just having that mindset definitely helps you a lot spiritually. That's definitely something that okay. Before Clay yells at me, guys. So to just end the podcast, what wait